Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers have had a relationship that seemingly both of them want to forget, as they have had an incredibly complicated history over the past couple of months that has inevitably resulted in the two parties wanting to move their separate ways. It seems simple to say that the 76ers should just trade Ben Simmons, yet it could not be farther from simple, and the last couple of weeks have showed that the situation may not be close to an end anytime soon, and it may have even just begun. Over the past couple of days, there have been new reports regarding the situation that I will get into later. I just wanted to give a little bit of a backstory to those who aren't fully aware of what is happening. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Enjoy the video. So, during the 2021 NBA playoffs, the Philadelphia 76ers were unfortunately eliminated by the Atlanta Hawks, and throughout that series, Simmons had been called out by fans for his performance, where Simmons was viewed by many to be an offensive liability who looked to have completely lost his confidence to score the ball altogether, where we witnessed him even pass up a wide open dunk for a pass to a teammate in Game 7. This was followed by him shooting the worst free throw percentage in a playoff in NBA history for players with at least 70 attempts. Simmons heard it all from the fans, and after that series, it was the beginning of the end for Simmons and his spell with the 76ers. It has been nothing but rocky between the two ever since then, as headline after headline had popped up about Simmons that summer, where discussions were being made of his future with this organization, and there was even a moment where people believed that Simmons and Embiid had controversies of their own. That Simmons-Embiid beef had been denied at the time, but soon after this, it was reported that Simmons wasn't going to report to training camp and was done with the franchise. There was a lot of back and forth between if he was going to play or not after this that even saw him attend a practice but then leave early, yet the consensus is now over and it is practically official that Simmons won't be playing another game for the 76ers, especially with what has just recently been reported. Both sides had made their attempts to try and reconcile to get Simmons in some NBA action again, and both sides were unsuccessful in their attempts, so now you would think that the simple solution to this situation would be for the 76ers to move on by trading him, right? Well, it hasn't been that simple as of late, and recently there have been reports that Ben Simmons would be willing to sit out the rest of the season if he were not traded by the NBA's trade deadline to try and put pressure on the franchise to finally get rid of him, but the 76ers have just been asking for way too much in return for a player yet to play a game this season. Even still, after this had been reported from Simmons, the Philadelphia 76ers were offered a potential trade with the Detroit Pistons for Jeremy Grant, Saddiq Bey, Kelly Olynyk, and a first-round pick, and this is where the story turns for the worst. This trade was reported to have been met with very little enthusiasm from the 76ers, and this is the point where I thought to myself that a trade was never going to happen, and Simmons would be stuck in Philly until further notice. This trade package obviously isn't the ideal one you think of when trading a prospect like Simmons, but I have so many problems with the fact that they didn't even consider it. The 76ers would be getting rid of Simmons for a first-round pick from Detroit, and I have no idea if that pick was protected or not, but if it wasn't, it is a guaranteed lottery pick this year as of right now, as the Pistons are second last in the entire NBA, so it could very well be a first overall pick in this year's draft if the lottery goes according to plan. On top of that, which is already pretty solid if you ask me, considering that if you don't do the trade, you get nothing for Simmons and you just try to win with what they have now, which would be incredibly difficult, but you also get a guy in Jeremy Grant who is a very decent player and has been for the last 2 years on the Pistons, and if you look at his numbers, they do nothing but back him up. I know that stats can definitely be inflated if you play on a team that isn't very good, but he still is 27 and can definitely help out your team, especially as a third or fourth option. They'd also be getting Saddiq Bey, who is a second-year forward out of Villanova, who is another guy that has been getting a decent amount of attention for playing well, and he's only 22, so adding him to your team also helps out with the team's future, on top of getting a key prospect to come off the bench. Lastly, the 76ers would be getting Kelly Olynyk as well, who was probably added to the deal to match Simmons' salary, as he hardly played this season, but even then, he's still a solid center who's had a experience in the playoffs who can come off the bench if you want him to, but there's no obligations to play him. This to me isn't a terrible deal for the 76ers in any way, simply because I believe that Simmons' value is only going downward, but it's just crazy for me to think of the other possible trades that had as much value as this one that the team had rejected because they believed he was worth more. The 76ers had just been starting to heat up as of late, as they've won 10 of their last 12 games, and Joel Embiid is playing some of the best basketball of his career as he is skyrocketing up the MVP ladder and can seriously be in the contention to win that award, especially if the team continues to play at the level they're at. Embiid played in just 27 minutes last night and he dropped 50 points on 74% shooting and also grabbed 12 rebounds as well. He is absolutely tearing up the NBA right now, and that's why this deal needs to happen this season, or else things will start to get incredibly shaky for this team. Embiid's contract would be up after next season, and we have no idea if he's willing to sign an extension with the team. However, more importantly, if the 76ers don't do anything before the deadline, the team could have just wasted the best chance they're gonna get to win, as Embiid is playing well enough right now to lead a team to the championship with the proper pieces around him. This could potentially mean that the 76ers would miss their window of opportunity altogether, and this could play a massive role in Embiid's decision to stick with the franchise. The East is also completely up for grabs this season, as the Nets have had problems off the court with Kyrie's availability and their overall ability to stay healthy, and with Embiid playing like the potential MVP this season, there is no question he can absolutely dominate in the playoffs and lead this team to an NBA Finals. The deal that the team had supposedly passed up on was both a move that could have played a large role in helping this team reach that next level this season, but was also a move that wouldn't be as risky, as they'd be acquiring a very appealing first-round pick on top of a young prospect that has been trending upwards. I'm not saying that the deal that they received was perfect by any means. I just don't know if things are going to get much better than that, especially before the deadline, and if the team doesn't make a move, things could get a lot uglier very quickly that could result in more than just Simmons being upset with the franchise. The 76ers already have other decent pieces around Embiid, with other guys like Seth Curry and Tobias Harris, just to name a few, and after this potential trade, the team could be bolstering up their starting lineup on top of adding starting caliber players to come off the bench, all for a guy that hasn't given you any games this season, and he won't for the rest of the year. The 76ers would be getting a whole lot better if they were to take this trade, and the window of opportunity is right now for the 76ers, and maybe this deal wasn't the one the 76ers wanted, but if another opportunity arises similar to this, I think the team would need to strongly consider it. That's going to be all for today's video, but I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments about this whole 76ers situation and Ben Simmons and what they should do in the future. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, as it helps the video get shared along YouTube's algorithm, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more NBA videos like this that I'll be posting multiple times per week. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great night.